Hello, everybody, and welcome to the December 2024 edition of Milwaukee Baseball, where we honor the history of our nation's pastime in the great city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm your host, Robert Cadera. As we prepare now for the upcoming winter meetings, which take place this week in Dallas, Texas, we're also taking a look at the current state of the Milwaukee Brewers Farm System. And there's a reason why. The lifeblood of any Major League Baseball franchise is a productive minor league system, and this is especially true of the smaller market teams like the Brewers, who lack the revenue stream to compete for high-priced free agents every year. As you may or may not be aware, the Brewers have only one time in their entire history signed a player to a contract for more than $100 million. That, of course, was Christian Yelich, who signed for 7 years and $188.5 million back in March of 2020. Now, don't look for that to happen again, and that is why the Brewers never play with the big boys in the free agency wars. But what the Brewers have going for them is a generally productive farm system that funnels a couple of Major League rookie players to the big leagues each and every year. Last season, for example, we welcomed Jackson Chourio, who looks like a future star, as well as Joey Ortiz, a sure-handed middle infielder with some pop in his bat that the team got from the Orioles as partial return for Corbin Burns. The previous season, Sal Frelick, Bryce Terang, and Garrett Mitchell made their Major League debuts in 2023. As long as the farm system provides a stream of new talent like that, the Brewers have a shot to stay relevant and in contention annually. One other ability the organization has shown is a talent for uncovering underdeveloped players in other organizations, acquiring these no-name ball players on the cheap and turning them into productive major leaguers. I'm talking about guys like Blake Perkins, Trevor McGill, Freddie Peralta, and most recently, righty Tobias Myers. The Brewers have made the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years. That's quite an achievement. But it also means they have not been drafting high up in the draft order every year. And this makes the organizational achievement even more noteworthy. Can the team keep this up? Well, I'd say the results of the past decade would argue yes, but the margin for error remains, and 1 or 2 false moves can render this strategy really ineffective. That begs the following questions. What is the current state of the Milwaukee Brewers farm system? And who are the upcoming players we can hope to see keeping the team in contention in the years ahead? To answer those questions, we're going to take a look at the top 10 prospects in the Milwaukee Brewers organization as rated by Baseball America, one of the most definitive sources for insight into minor league talent. I expect that when they finish all their organizational reviews this winter, Baseball America will rank the Brewers farm system somewhere on the back end of the top 10 systems in baseball, maybe 8 or 9, a few notches below where they had them ranked last year. But that's mostly because the Brewers graduated Jackson Chourio, Joey Ortiz, and Robert Gasser to the big league club last year. Still, there's plenty of talent left in the organization, especially among the infield prospects, and there's reason for continued optimism and hope on the part of the Brewers faithful. Let's take a look. Coming in at number 10 on the list of this year's prospects is right-handed pitcher Brett Witkowski, a 13th round draft pick in 2023 from Bryant College, hardly a baseball powerhouse. But this is illustrative of one of the Brewers' paths to success. That is, discovering and then developing under-the-radar pitching talent during the draft's middle and later rounds. Wachowski split last season between high A and double A, and while his fastball measured in the low 90s during his college career, last season it was sitting in the mid-90s, and he even hit 101 miles per hour. The Brewers minor league pitching academy has a very good track record of tweaking the delivery of otherwise middling pitchers to increase fastball velocity as well as movement on a hurler's breaking stuff. I first noticed this a decade ago when they drafted Brandon Woodruff in the 11th round out of Mississippi State. And he went on to become a mainstay of the Brewers staff. And by the way, let's hope he bounced back from injury in 2025. If Wachowski can do a similar thing and maintain upper-level velocity like he showed last year, he could become a solid back-of-the-rotation starter or a bullpen mainstay in a few years. Ranked number 9 is Luis Pena, a shortstop from the Dominican Republic who received an $800,000 bonus last summer. Pena showed his talent immediately in the Dominican Summer League, that's rookie level, by winning the league batting title with a .393 average. He's a toolsy, solidly built shortstop, and he stole 39 bases last year. If he stays in the middle of the infield, that's great. He might move to center field, though, since they have so many infielders in the system. Pena is probably 3 years away from the big leagues. The Brewers' number 8 prospect is another late-round development project, a 6'4" right-hander called Bishop Letson. Like Woodruff a decade ago, Letson was drafted in the 11th round out of an Indiana high school. Letson had a strong debut last year in Low-A Carolina League. He showed a 2-seam and 4-seam fastball, and he has plenty of room for more physical development. Like Wachowski, Letson is 3 to 4 years away from showing up in Milwaukee. As an aside, with the ridiculous salaries now being offered to free agent pitchers, it's increasingly important for the Brewers to develop the heart of its staff through its own player development program. At number 7 on the prospect list is first baseman Mike Bove, the Brewers' second-round draft pick in 2023. He split last year between high A and double A, hitting a promising .338 despite dealing with some injuries. Right now, he's a hit-over-power prospect, and his defensive home is yet to be determined. But his bat will be his calling card, and he may end up at DH. But if the power develops in the years ahead, he could provide some pop. His overall game right now is a bit like that of the Mets' Jeff McNeil. The Brewers' number 6 prospect also came from the team's 2023 draft, which may prove to be the best draft in Brewers history. Eric Battanti is a 6'4" power-hitting third baseman who could develop into a 30-homer middle-of-the-order player with all-star upside. Last year in the Low-A Carolina League, Battanti hit a solid .282, and he hit 16 homers, drove in 66 runs in only 79 games. That was his first year. Right now, there's some swing and miss in his game, and if he can control his free-swinging ways, there's a lot to like in his profile. Hopefully, Battanti will continue to develop and justify his $1.75 million bonus. A familiar face ranks as the Brewers' number 5 prospect, as Tyler Black got his first taste of Major League pitching last year. He has a power-speed combination from the left side that could be a big factor in 2025 as the Brewers attempt to replace some of the offensive might lost in Willy Adames' free agency. Black also has to remain healthy to help the big league club, and injuries have slowed his development since he was chosen as a supplemental first-round pick in 2021. To start, expect him to play at DH and hit toward the top of the lineup. Now, the number 4 prospect, according to Baseball America, is yet another player chosen in the 2023 draft, a guy named Cooper Pratt, a 19-year-old shortstop from Mississippi, splitting the 24 season between low A and high A leagues, Pratt hit a solid .277, stole 27 bases, and he's a true shortstop who should spend most of the next season playing in Double-A Biloxi. He projects to be an above average with both the glove and the bat, and has a high baseball IQ. He has yet to turn 20, so he's a ways away from Milwaukee. You're going to recognize the Brewers' number 3 prospect. That's Jacob Misiorowski, whose stuff may be the best of any minor league pitcher. If he only knew where the ball was going once it left its hand. He better attain command and control. If he doesn't, he's going to end up as a shutdown reliever. If he does, he could be a top-of-the-rotation starter. And Misiorowski will open the year in Triple-A at Nashville, and he should, barring injury, make his major league debut with the Brewers this upcoming season. He's likely to be the most significant rookie on the squad this year. His fastball is rated 80 on the scale of 20 to 80 used by Major League scouts. His tall stature and extended delivery make his pitches even harder to pick up. And tall pitchers often take longer to iron out a repeatable delivery, however. Randy Johnson was not an effective Major League pitcher until he was 26, and he wasn't a dominant pitcher until he was 31. Now, Misiorowski will start the upcoming season at age 22, and I'm not saying he's another Randy Johnson, not at all. But a little patience for Jacob is worth it, and the possible reward down the road could be considerable. He's one of the best prospects on the mound that the team has had since Corbin Burns really turned the corner 4 years ago. If the organization feels Jacob is ready, they may be more inclined to move Devin Williams for young pitching. The number 2 prospect in the Brewers farm system only had one at-bat all last season. I'm talking about 21-year-old catcher Jefferson Cuero. Now, Cuero is one of the top catching prospects in the minors, and he's close, likely opening the 25 season at Triple-A Nashville. He's a tough out at the plate and a 70-grade catcher with a strong arm. With William Contreras under Brewer team control for 3 more seasons, there's really no reason to rush Cuero. But if Contreras were to suffer an injury, it's good to know the organization has such a talented catcher so close to the major leagues right now. I've saved the best for last. Surprisingly, the ballplayer now regarded as the Brewers' number 1 prospect, and who is already being mentioned in the same breath as Jackson Chourio, made his professional debut last year at the age of 17. His name is Jesus Mate, a 6'2" switch-hitting shortstop who was chosen as the best ball player in the Dominican Rookie League last summer. He hit .331, had an on-base of an astounding .458, slugged .554, and he was chosen the best major league prospect in the league and a potential franchise cornerstone. If he grows any stronger, he may end up as the Brewers' third baseman of the future. He was chosen as Milwaukee's minor league player of the year in '24, and he's expected to open this season in full season ball at age 18, just as they did with Jackson Chourio 2 years ago. With Chourio signed to a long-term 8-year deal, it wouldn't surprise me if the Brewers offered the same kind of deal to Mate if he shows that he's going to continue his development over the next year or 2. He and Chourio could form the center, the heart, the core of a strong lineup for the Brewers for a decade or so. Offhand, in fact, I can't think of another team that has 2 such promising young players as the Brewers do with Chourio and Mate. One of the joys, of course, of following a team is to watch young players develop into stars, assuming they stay healthy, of course. So there you have it. All right, top 10, a preview of the top players in the Milwaukee farm system. It's going to be necessary for the organization to continue this balancing act when it comes to salary management, as we've seen them do for the better part of the last decade. Now, I see only 2 players on this list who figure to play significant roles on the 2025 Brewers, and that would be Tyler Black and Jacob Misiorowski. Jefferson Cuero is also close enough to spend some time with the crew if injuries warrant more manpower behind the plate. Will that be enough? There's no Jackson Churio on the near horizon, but perhaps the answer to maintaining Brewers' success in the upcoming season will come from measurable improvement by players already on the roster. Young players like Joey Ortiz, Sal Frelick, and Garrett Mitchell. Only time will tell. Now, in our upcoming January installment of Milwaukee Baseball, we're going to review the offseason moves the team is making, summarize the happenings at this week's winter meetings in Dallas, and we will look at what remains to be done to get the team ready to defend its National League Central crown in 2025. Finally, we will also have a feature story on the Milwaukee Chicks. They are Brewtown's professional girls baseball team from the 1940s, so look for that. As always, I'm your host, Robert Cadera. I would like to thank you for stopping by. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now remember to subscribe to Milwaukee Baseball, and we'll meet you again next time around the bases during the first week in January. So long, everybody.